These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Wednesday, September 20th. And we are getting really close now, actually. We are about a month away from NBA basketball. We are even closer to that, to training camp. Media day for the Celtics is October 2nd, the day before training camp starts.
Say 12
I'm very
days.
excited. Yeah, we're getting right down to it. Wait, 30? Yeah, only 30 days in September. Do you have to sing the song when you say that, or do you just know? Am I an idiot?
I don't really. I kind of just get surprised when the month changes some months.
Do you know the song?
I don't know the song, but I know like July and August are back-to-back 31s, and there's no 3 in a row, so September's only 30.
Ooh.
Halloween's on the 31st. November only has 30. December has 31. So does January. So those are back-to-back too. Then
30 days has September, April, June, and November. After February's done, all the rest have 31. There's your song. That's what you got to know. And that's I have to sing the song in my head, but September, 30 days has September. It's the first one. So I got there pretty quick when I was thinking about this month. Don't worry about it.
As somebody that writes and hits letters quite a bit, I still do the alphabet when I need to figure out the order of them in my head. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, K, L, M, N, O, P.
Yeah, when like what comes before what?
Yeah.
No, I definitely have to do that too. Definitely. I mean, that's part of it.
An escape room where I had like my soul snatched. There was like code that you had to figure out, and it was like based on like, okay, each letter in this message spells a word, but the only way you can find the word is find the code of the letters. So the letter, if it was A, it was actually 5 letters advanced, so it would be E. Like that kind of thing. So you had to figure out for all.
You're singing the alphabet over and over again.
Yeah, a lot of A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
I'm glad we're turning the intro just into like the opposite of the Rat List, where we talk about good stuff or just like random stuff, and I kind of like it. So I'm going to continue with that briefly. I signed up for pre-sale tickets today to Noah Khan. Do you know Noah Khan?
I think Kalen went to see him.
Oh, I love Noah Khan.
He was at Xfinity Center, right?
I know, and I didn't know he was coming because like
went to that.
I just recently, got into it because my friend Jacob told me, oh, you'll really like this guy, and I listened to it, and lo and behold, I did. Let me show you something quick. So, you're a Spotify guy, right? Not Apple Music?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Whew. What a disaster that would have been. So you can look at this website, stats for Spotify, and you can look at like, oh, this is your top tracks for the last 4 weeks and stuff like that, right? So if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see this. This is my top tracks for the past 4 weeks on Spotify. It is almost exclusively Noah Khan with somehow One Direction on there too. I don't know how that popped up there, but good song, Story of My Life, good song. But as you can tell, I have been a pretty big Noah Khan fan, and so I will hopefully be going to see him next summer. Very good. Highly recommend if you enjoy that type of music, which I don't know if you do, but anyways, with that, we can get into the first Celtics thing we have, which is, speaking of training camp, players have started to arrive at Celtics training camp.
A lot of
Brown,
pictures
Tatum,
of people
Horford,
lifting weights.
Yep. Celtics posting on social media. Porzingis posted as well. We're getting there. Like I was saying in the intro, and we'll lump this in too because it's kind of similar. Only 2 players have reportedly not gotten to training camp yet, per Bobby Manning, who I assume has just been tracking this because he's a beast. What can I say? He said Brogdon and Derek White are reportedly the only 2 who have not gotten back yet, or at least according to socials. Maybe they just got back and, set by the time this goes out. We don't know. But those 2 not there yet. Everyone else back. We're getting to the season, Sam. This can just be, let's actually get excited for real basketball. I don't think I can put into words, I know you feel the same, how excited I am to actually have games to talk about.
No, I'll tell you what. We just put it into words for the last 3 months of how terrible it is not to have games. So if you guys think like our shows are kind of good now when we're just sitting here playing patty cake for an hour, wait till there's actually news to talk about or games to react to. I mean, we popped off in the playoffs. That's when we started our big run. And it was because we were bitching about games. So just wait. Wait till they come out on opening night and piss me off. I'll be ready.
The last time we got to talk about games was Summer League, and y'all like that.
That doesn't even count. I wasn't even
exactly. Exactly, but people still liked it. So imagine we have actual games, and you're starting to see the people caring, reflecting in the listens. Our listens on the first day drop of a pod on streaming platforms are slowly people are getting interested. People are liking it. Oh, I'm so excited, man.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Oh,
Even though that's kind of always like in my mind, it's the playoffs, but then the playoffs come and I'm
yeah.
like, this is literally the worst thing ever because they should beat everybody every single game and then they lose and it's like, oh, well, they're going to get eliminated.
Yeah. They're back though, man. Everyone's back. Everyone's starting to get back to the training camp. Derek White, Malcolm Brogdon still not the ones, still not there yet. I know you put on the sheet. Do you think it's time to get concerned about Brogdon? I don't know.
Is it time for him to knock it off?
The situation's definitely odd. I was listening to the front office show with Keith Smith and Trevor Lane. It's my daily listen when I go to run my errands. And the way he put it was, it's hard for me to put it in like my own words. Like, it's just a very weird situation considering like there's no one to keep him in check really. Right? Like, because Smart's gone. He was the vocal leader. Like, Tatum and Brown will have to be the ones to, like, okay, sit Brogdon down and say, like, dude, you're here still. Let's get it over with. And if not, get a move on. Get traded. Because if you're going to be a problem, it's not worth having him here, as much as that is. But we don't actually know if that's true. This could just be remnants. In my opinion, I feel like it's remnants of he was mad at the trade in the first place, and now it's still carrying over now. And I would have hoped the Celtics would have worked on it internally, but this whole situation is weird. I don't know how much the connection to he's not at training camp yet has to do with it, because Derek White's also not back, and I don't think Derek White has a problem.
Derek White's just hanging out with Coach Prime.
Yeah, I don't think he has a problem with anybody. But the Brogdon situation is weird, but as far as training camp, I'm very hyped.
Derek White's just self-conscious because he doesn't have hair anymore. He doesn't want to show up to camp. Yeah, he doesn't want to get roasted, even though he looks very clean.
I like it.
The Brogdon thing, a little tidbit I saw it on Reddit from Ramona Shelburne. She speculates that this silence or lack of information around Brogdon has more to do with the injury he's dealing with and less with him being upset about almost being traded. So I don't know if that's actually better or worse. Like, what's easier to heal, the strained forearm or hurt feelings? Because that's a true point of contention. And hurt feelings are no joke. And I'm not even trying to make fun of it. Like, I think he has some grounds to be kind of pissed too. But I would like him to be here and to contribute to a winning team. Because I don't think we can play we'll play the little game, right? What are they really going to get for him if they trade him? We've done this so many times this summer, and the consensus answer is always like, oh, some like role-playing wings. Like, oh, they could get Royce O'Neal and somebody else. But in real life, you kind of need another guard back that can actually play if you're going to give up Malcolm Brogdon, because you no longer have that surplus of guards. We've talked about this on recent shows. After trading Smart, you can't just like screw around and be like, all right, here's another guy, just take him.
Yeah, I mean, I've thrown around the same guard names all summer long, like Anthony Melton, if the James Harden situation goes south. You look at, I'm just going down the list so it jogs my memory here. TJ McConnell, Tyus Jones, Markelle Fultz, I know is a guy you really like.
It's like the only one that I've heard. Well, actually, I'll say this. I like Melton, but I don't think he's a viable replacement for Brogdon.
No, I agree. That's because there is no viable replacement for Brogdon. There is no other sixth man of the year. There is no other starting level guard out there. I think I would do that. I stand on the fact that I would do a Tyler Hero for Brogdon swap.
Well, he's the worst. He's like the worst dude ever. Like, insufferable people. Like, it's like him, LeBron, Kyrie, like all of these dudes that are just annoying as hell. But I would take him on the Celtics. He's not that insufferable.
I mean, we're getting into the Dame stuff later, like the latest Dame stuff, much to your chagrin, I'm sure. But the Blazers don't want Hero because they already have a bunch of guards. If it's a matter of, realistically, if the Celtics wanted to get in there as a third team, not that this would ever happen, although maybe this can be the title of the podcast because we're in September. Like, if the Celtics got in there, said, okay, you guys don't want Hero, we'll take him. Here's Brogdon. You get Dame, you give up whatever you need to give up. That way the Heat don't have to take on his contract. Like, Hero I would take Brogdon our hero in Boston. Like realistically, it is not as good of a straight up shooter, but he's younger. He's a better overall scorer than Brogdon, I would argue. I think his value has been absolutely tanked by this whole Trailblazer situation. Like he's a damn good player. You know what's a good replacement for the current 6 man of the year? The previous 6 man of the year. Like, that's the perfect. I would do that in a heartbeat. I think that'd be a great deal for the Celtics. I wouldn't hesitate a second at getting Hero for Brogdon. I think you'd have to give up an extra salary just because of how it works. But
yeah,
I think that could potentially be. I think it could be like Svi Mykhailiuk. No, it would have to actually be. Sorry, I'm looking at fucking
10-ish million.
Spotrac. No, Brogdon and
6.
I think you could do Brogdon and Cornette or Brogdon and Pritchard, and the deal would be good. Yeah, sorry, Brissett and Brogdon straight up works for
if Brissett was on the Heat. Good luck to you.
This is true,
dude. I mean, we did the trivia yesterday where it was like impossible.
In this trade, Brogdon would be on the Heat, which I don't know if he'd be.
Where's Brissett going?
Blazers. It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
My point, it would be a 3-team deal. Brogdon could hypothetically go to the Blazers, but my perspective was if they don't want to take on any money past the season. Exactly. Hey, if we're titling this Tyler Hero idea to the Celtics, though, I'm all in on Tyler Hero. I mean, I just think it would be a good fit. As much as the defense would take a hit, Brogdon wasn't giving you much on the defensive end anyways, like realistically. And Hero would be a great 6 man. He could be in the closing lineup. I think he'd be a nice floor. And
he's had clutch moments.
He's not as good of a floor spacer as Malcolm Brogdon, but he shot 37.8% from 3 last year on 8 attempts a game. And it's not that he would be taking that many in Boston. He would have a very different role, but like you can't convince me Tyler Hero wouldn't be a good fit with the Celtics. You get the ball handling, you get the actually better rebounding than Brogdon. He averaged 20 points a night for the past 2 seasons. Has playoff experience. He's only 23 years old, going to be 24 next season. He could grow with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and Kristaps Porzingis and Derek White and Horford and Rob. Like, I'd be in. I'd be in on the Tyler Hero to Boston. I think it'd be good.
Yeah, it's just funny how nobody cares about him anymore because the Heat just made the finals without him. And if you're a Heat fan or you're the front office, you can look at that and be like, he's found money. Because this team we just trotted out there won the East. They did it pretty convincingly. I mean, the Celtics series went 7 games, but they were dominating that for 3 games until the Celtics decided not to be dickheads anymore. And they didn't have Hero playing. Why not shop him?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you can bring in Dame. There's no reason why he wouldn't be included in rumors. This is a free asset that you have to give up, right? And he hadn't shot the threes as well as Brogdon. Before Brogdon got on the Celtics, he wasn't knocking him down at any elite clip either. He was fine. If Hero joined the Celtics, he very well could have a spike in his 3-point shooting too. It was because of the looks, the quality of shot that Brogdon got last year. A lot less pressure on him defensively. If you really want to like be cynical about it, you can be like, listen, Miami's just a team that's at a similar level of Boston. Of course, him coming here wouldn't necessarily give him that much of a culture difference compared to Indiana, or not culture, talent level difference compared to Indiana, right? Brogdon was having to be the guy. Hero's kind of 6-man role player-esque in Miami.
He's one of their top scoring options, though, so it would definitely be weird, but I don't know. I think it'd be interesting. And for what it's worth, as much as the whole reason Tyler Hero's value is bad is because he got hurt in the playoffs.
2 years in a row.
2 years in a row. Other than the bad timing of his injuries, like he's been pretty healthy. Like outside of freak accidents that have cost him seasons, like compared to Brogdon, who miraculously, I'll say, played 67 games this year, but in years prior, 36, 56, 54, 64, 48. Not great for Brogdon. Tyler Hero's the opposite. 55, 54, dealt with stuff, then 66, 67. Like he's on the upswing. He's also younger. I'm glad you said that. I'm sure this isn't what you
him and Bobby Manning can compare bucket hats.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true. I'm sure this isn't what you envisioned when you put this on the sheet in terms of the Brogdon.
Well, we don't have Hero on the sheet anywhere except for the timestamp now. which is fine.
Yeah.
Improv. How about that? Yes, and
how about that? There's your title, fellas. Thank you for people are gonna get mad at this too. They're
gonna click the video and it's gonna be you talking about what did we open the show with?
Noah Khan.
Noah Khan. Yeah.
Nah, I mean, look, he's not the same player as Brogdon. He might not even be quite as good of an exact fit, but he's 7 years nearly younger. He's on a longer term contract, which might be better for the Celtics. And for what it's worth, it's really not a bad contract for a player of his caliber. Like, he's going to make, let me see, 27, 29, 31, 33 moving forward. And at first glance, like, you say, oh, 33 million for Tyler Hero on the back end of his contract. He'll be what, 24, 25, 26, like 27 years old, making $30 million for a player of his caliber. And with the new CBA for a third, fourth option, that's what you're going to have to pay for a really good team. Well, and nowadays, like, you're going to have to pay that much.
Not for nothing. When you have your top guys locked up, Tatum and Brown, presumably if Tatum signs an extension next summer, which you'd have to imagine who will, you don't really have to worry about making moves to bring in more talent. So essentially, if you have a guy that you think fits and he's locked up for a certain amount of time, then that's a good deal for you. It's kind of what makes the Jalen contract worthwhile for the Celtics, but maybe the rest of the league is like, well, you don't really want to pay that. The Celtics have two guys that are their pillars. Locking them up, first and foremost, the most important thing. Once you have that, spend all you want. It doesn't matter. I mean, the majority of Boston's core is locked in for years to come. Of course, Hero's contract goes longer than Brogdon's, but even him and White and Al Horford just signed the extension. Kristaps Porzingis signed the extension. Rob's under contract for a couple more years too.
Obviously,
yeah. I mean the supporting cast.
Yeah.
I mean, Jordan Walsh, if you really want to like point at people, like he's going to be, if they want to, for 4 years.
Sam Hauser.
Yep. All of this stuff just plays into, like, I don't know. You don't really need to make any crazy moves once you have Tatum and Brown on your team. Keep the rest of the guys as much as you can. But if you bring in Hero via trade, there's no reason to panic over his $30 million salary. Like, not ideal if you're trying to set up a team, maybe. But if you already have everybody, don't worry about it.
I agree. I'm all in on the go get Tyler Hero deal. The only thing I would see as a potential issue is the Heat don't necessarily need to give up Hero in a trade. They could technically just give up Robinson and Lowry's contract and then other stuff. But if the Celtics give them Brogdon and stuff, maybe, I don't know. I like the idea of Tyler Hero in Boston, and I don't think it's the craziest thing we ever talked about in the show. So there you go. There's the take.
Get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets. Guaranteed. That's guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now is the best time to join FanDuel. It absolutely is. The app is easy to use, and you can be on everything from spreads to player props and more. So visit FanDuel.com/Boston. Kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
Next thing is
another
Austin Rivers
could be on the Celtics, maybe.
Yeah, we're talking about guard depth. Austin Rivers has talked to the Celtics. You put this on the sheet. He was on Bill Simmons' podcast, correct?
Sure did. I listened to it on the way home from work to prepare. So I got to lead with Bill Simmons kind of was talking to Austin Rivers about what it's like to be a journeyman in the NBA. And then Austin Rivers started talking about the Heat. He was like, well, I would do anything to play for Miami because in Miami, their whole mantra, their whole goal is just to win games. Like, they don't care about getting player X his minutes because he's making this much money. Like, and then he uses Gabe Vincent starting in the playoffs all last year while Lowry making $30 million came off the bench, and there was no issue with that. And then Bill Simmons is like, well, this took a dark turn. I really wouldn't like you to join the Heat. I actually would like you on the Celtics. Then he's like, well, you know, like, I did reach out to them last week, talked to Brad, had a good conversation with Brad. I've always gotten along with Brad. He said there were some positive things in there, and we'll see where it goes. So Austin Rivers could be a candidate for the Celtics' final roster spot. But
Mhm.
at the very least, he's admired them from afar. It was just interesting to hear
Yeah.
Austin Rivers talk about the NBA, to be honest with you, like with Bill Simmons picking his brain, because he really felt like he could have had a better career if he wasn't in some bad situations, which I'm sure like a lot of guys do.
Yeah.
But if I like was say we had like somebody on the show, let's say like you had Grant Williams on our show, the
Yeah.
first thing I would probably ask Grant is, what's it like when you're coming up as a basketball player and you're the best player for literally your whole life, and then you have to stand in the corner? Like that's your whole job. That's going to be a huge
Yeah.
adjustment for some of these guys. And Austin Rivers kind of does a great job of explaining that. Like he wasn't really given much ball handling duties in New Orleans when he got drafted, and he was second to Anthony Davis, and he didn't really get as much freedom as he would have liked. And then it really painted him in a corner. And then they bring in Drew Holiday and Tyreek Evans, and they go ahead of him, and he really just never gets an opportunity. Has to move on, whatever. But if he was on the Celtics, you really could see him maybe thrive in a 6-man scoring role off the bench if they get rid of Brogdon. That's like where my mind went when I saw this. I was like, well, is there really reason for them to bring in Austin Rivers? You have Peyton Pritchard now.
I don't think.
To play for your
I was
team.
gonna say I don't think he'd even play over Pritchard. No, and that's not because he's bad, but like I just think Pritchard would get those opportunities first. You saw Joe Mazzulla; he likes players he knows, and Pritchard's a player he knows.
Very true. But also, like Pritchard, like no longer wants to trade. He's excited to be here. He's looking forward to the opportunities he's going to have with the Celtics. Why would Brad Stevens go after Austin Rivers unless there was a gap there? Because I still think he wants to play Pritchard, and I think Austin Rivers could be a good fit off the bench as a scoring option. I'm just not sure it works if you still have Derek White and Brogdon ahead of the two of them.
Yeah, agree. Austin Rivers, who had one of the best high school mixtapes of all time, Nasty, just fucking gross in high school.
I actually watched it when I joined the room because I was like, I've never actually watched this.
He's nasty. He's disgusting.
You watched that special I told you to watch today?
No, I did not. I was working. Sorry. I've never been a huge comedy special guy. There's very few
some of the funniest
comedy specials. Few comedy specials I watched. Donald Glover's is one of them. His comedy special is great. I've seen that one. Love Donald Glover. Anyways,
my favorite people.
Yeah, Childish Gambino, beast. Fun fact. I mean, no, we're on a tangent. When I was in college, I was talking to my mom. And I go, this is Childish Gambino.
You've told me this story.
You know exactly. Yeah.
And
she goes, oh yeah, this is nice. I'm like, yeah, it's Donald Glover. She goes, what do you mean it's Donald Glover? I'm like, you know Donald Glover, right? She goes, yeah, the actor from Atlanta, right? And I'm like, yeah, they're the same person. She goes, what do you mean they're the same person? I'm like, it's the same guy.
It's the same guy.
Once it's dropped, she goes, no. I'm like, yeah, I'm the same person. It was so funny. Donald Glover was in the Lion King live action movie too, who can sing. Dude is just probably one of the most talented guys in Hollywood.
He's everywhere. Atlanta, excellent show. Mm-hmm. He's in Spider-Verse. He's in
Lion King, Community. Rap Game. He's a beast. He's a beast. Anyways, next thing, the Celtics were mentioned multiple times as one of the best teams not to win a title. Bleacher Report did this article. I know you put it on here. Do you know who wrote it? Which Bleacher Report writer wrote it?
I actually don't know. I think it was Zach.
I'll find it,
but I'm not positive off the top of my head.
Andy Bailey. Andy Bailey of Bleacher Report wrote it. The best NBA teams the last 5 years not to win a title. You put it on here because I know you want to pull your hair out every time we talk about it. So I'm gonna let you do that for yourself.
It's funny. I actually watched the Game 3 highlights yesterday. Just hanging out. And I was like, I'm just trying to get excited for the season. Like, I'm so bored right now. I want to watch highlights. And that is a good game for highlights. Like, good crowd, good moments, good runs they go on, like, good plays, everything. And then, like, you watch it and you're like, wow, they were just really so dominant in this game. And did they blow a lead? They sure did. But they recovered and still won by, like, 14, 15 points. And they come out in Game 4 and they have it again. They just don't hold on. They're just dead after that. I can't believe they didn't win last year. But that last year's team was not even on the actual list. It was on the honorable mentions along with the bubble team. The bubble team, by the way, which I think would have won if Horford didn't leave. Stand by it. That is a take I will never back off of because I just think they played the Lakers really well that year. Horford was a key piece. He probably does a better job on Bam, etc. The team that was actually on the list, this last year's team, 5th on the list. Should they have won a title by now?
Yeah.
It's the Pope Catholic. Realistically, could have 3 titles. I mean, all 3 of these teams could have won a title. The most, glaring one is that 22 team when they actually went to the finals and they had it by the balls. I mean, I've said it before. The Redick pod, when they have Al Horford on, Redick's talking to Horford, and he's like, dude, like, you guys were up in that fourth quarter of game 4, and I was like, yep, Boston's going to win. And then Curry catches fire, Celtics shoot a bunch of threes. They go back to Golden State, get absolutely pieced. They come out okay in game 6, and then they give up a huge run, and that's the end of it. That was the end. And they never recovered from blowing that game 4 lead. And this has been a trend that is not only carried over through the last 2 coaching stints of Mazzulla and Ime Udoka, because they blew their fair share of leads this year, but Brad Stevens too. So as much as I hate to see Marcus Smart not be on the team anymore, maybe the shakeup will do enough for them to be able to close games and actually play down the stretch. I mean, I've hypothesized on Porzingis being a half-court piece more times than I can count, but
yeah,
I really, really hope that is the difference he makes, because I just can't deal with them just blowing leads. It's infuriating.
Yeah. And as soon as I saw this on the sheet, I'm looking at your comments you wrote. Sam gets very mad at himself. We'll censor.
Yeah.
Should they have won a title by now? Sam rubs his hands together. Sam's just monologuing on our Google Doc.
Yeah, well, I was just sitting there. I was like, dude, like, I mean, they should have won. They should have won in 22. It's like, I feel like I'm in a straight jacket talking about this kind of stuff, because I cannot believe that they didn't finish the job in that finals. And I really can't believe they didn't win game 7 this year. Even after Tatum rolls his ankle, they still got out to an okay start. They just didn't step on Miami's throats and get the crowd into it. They couldn't do anything with the home crowd.
We need to, when we're big enough to have like a producer, we need to have them say, okay, can you count how many times this summer Sam mentioned the Warriors series from 2 years ago? Or I guess a year ago, but yeah.
It just happens at random times. Like, you got that text message one day at midnight. I was like, dude, what the fuck? Heated.
It's funny.
I got to go to a parade. I remember I was telling my job, I was like, listen, like, I don't know when it's going to be, but I might need the parade day off. Like, I'm not going to, I was doing mornings at the time. I was doing the morning news. I was like, I might not be here.
Yeah. What they say, they're like, all right,
okay. But like, and then it just never happened.
Yeah. Very tough. Tough look. Next thing, we have Paul Pierce talking about Jason Tatum. They've been working out together all summer, which is something we talked about a lot. Pierce said this on KG's podcast, KG Certified with Showtime. It's been on the pod a lot. Said it reminds me of the process I used to go through to get ready for the season. Just being able to watch him and seeing him do the things that make him great. It's an honor. He's one. Excuse me, got the hiccups. He's one of the top 5 players in the league. So it's an honor to be there and see him go through his journey, to see him get ready. And they're really on some support just to see his growth. He's already at the top of the food chain, so I'm just being a part of the support system. Yeah, I mean, it's good to hear. Question that spawns from this that just popped in my head. Is Jason Tatum, I'm not saying better career, is he already a better player than Paul Pierce was?
I think so. I don't know how necessarily fair that is, though. I feel like the game's a little bit different where you see the star players do more of everything now, where Pierce's age, his job was to score and he was the lead at it, and that was his role as a star player. Agreed. But I do feel like he's maybe more dominant. I don't know. I feel like old heads might be like, you were like 10 when Pierce was at his best, so you don't know ball. And I'll be like, yeah, dude, I was like in 3rd grade.
Yeah. Sure. Maybe.
I mean, Pierce is one of my favorite players. I have the picture of him and KG right there over my shoulder. Every pod, he's on the pod. And went to his final game in Boston. It was an excellent moment. It was the best game I'd ever been to until I went to that Nets game 2 and they stormed back from 17 down against Kyrie. It was the best thing ever. But that was my favorite player growing up. So I have no bias against him. I prefer him to Tatum, to be honest. Tatum, I don't dislike him either, but he sure pisses me off a lot more. I wasn't old enough to be pissed when Pierce was around. So,
yeah, no, I got you. Fair enough. Good to see him by Jason Tatum in the offseason, though. Another thing you put on here, Tony Allen talked to Chris Forsberg of NBC Sports Boston, friend of the pod. He was on here once. Tony Allen said, that seek and destroy mentality. I ain't saying Tatum don't got it, but Pierce is working out with him. I think that's good insight. I think that goes a long way rather than just being around some random trainer telling you step back, step back. I think it's all about mentality when you get that rock. That's also fair. I also think, I feel like people have this concept about Jason Tatum that he's soft or doesn't care because of the way he leads. And we talked about it when he had his interview with Jeff Goodman. He literally just came out and said, I just am not the same as some people. I'm quiet. I lead my own way. Yeah, he's like, let me be me. And whenever people, not to like disparage Tony Allen, I don't think he was necessarily trying to do this, but like people saying, oh, you don't get that dog in him, he's not that guy. Like, no, he's just himself. Like, he's just not
I think you can
outwardly
point
expressive
to a ton of examples of Tatum actually stepping up in really big moments. So I think it's real. Like, I was on that kind of like thought process for a little bit, and then I'm like, well, like Tatum scored like 46 points in Milwaukee in that game 6 last year, and then he had a great game 6 to close in game 7 against Philly this year.
Yep,
he was pretty decent in that Brooklyn series. Like, he had a really great run on the way to that finals last year. Was pretty solid throughout this one. There's no reason to knock him. Like, the only real bad elimination game Tatum has had is when he rolled his ankle. So
yeah,
I'm not sure how fair it is to be like, he's not a dog or he's not clutch. But I do think like Pierce was a better closer. Like, I don't think Tatum. What do you say?
I said Pierce can only help him. Like, there's nothing bad about it. Like, I think Pierce is just going to help him.
Yeah, maybe he'll like bully him. I do think it's funny. Like, Pierce isn't really in shape anymore, and it's funny to see him working out with Tatum,
who's just fucking shredded.
Yeah,
the dude is in the best shape I've ever seen on a human. Oh my god.
I do like that Paul Pierce is involved with the team though, because we really have not seen very much of that in a very long time. Like, what?
He knows. Like, he knows Tatum's that guy.
He's like the last guy that really was like hanging around after they
I
left.
think he just knows that Tatum is that dude. Like, Tatum is really goddamn
but
good.
Even aside from Tatum, like, he's always at games. He was at the playoff games. He's at the Garden quite a bit for somebody that's not living out here.
Yeah, agree. Good for him. I enjoy it. All right, let's check in with our email. We actually have 2 today.
2 emails.
From one from RJ, but we're going to start with the one that came, hiccups in first. Philip Hart emailed the pod.
Legend.
Saying, hey, absolute legend. Couldn't agree more. Said, question for the pod. Hey, fellas, many thanks. As always, I continue to listen to nearly every Celtics pod and believe yours is among the very best. Thank you, Philip. We appreciate you greatly. If I do this, okay, yeah, I want to know. I want to know if it can press the words. I don't want to cut it off and have me scroll over. It's perfect, though. Question. On the most recent Low Post podcast, Kevin Pelton picked the Celtics to come out of the East, whether or not Dame lands in Miami. Hey, Kevin Pelton. Fun fact, I once emailed Kevin Pelton, asked him if he wanted to come on the pod. He said, sorry, I can only be on a few with my contract with ESPN, but I appreciate it, which is very nice. And this was in 2020, so this was before we were an actual
might have been before
established. So shout out Kevin Pelton. Said, among his reasons were that KP posts up a lot and is very effective at it. Porzingis being, not Kevin Pelton. Do you think Joe will have KP post up? How do you see it fitting in a lineup with Robert Al? Keep up the excellent work, Phil. Thank you, Phil. And
I like
funny
this question a lot.
Sam just talked about the half court Porzingis help, and so I'll let you lead with that, and I have my own thoughts too.
Yeah. So again, I really love Porzingis post up as a late game go-to to help them be a better team when the game actually slows down. I'm going to allude to the Charles Barkley thing again. When he went on the Bill Simmons podcast and talked to Bill Simmons about trying to get traded to the Blazers in like 1992, Portland was one of the best teams in the league. They had the best record in the West, but they weren't really that successful in the playoffs. They did make the finals, but they struggled when the game slowed down. When it went into half court, they didn't have a low post presence to get them buckets if they weren't able to just flat out outrun teams. I think Porzingis has potential to be like that for the Celtics. I don't think Porzingis is a dominant force like Chuck, but I do think he has the size to be a real pain in the ass for opposing teams. And to go to the second part of this question, do you see him fitting into a lineup with Robert Al? I'm not going to talk about this in the sense of a starting lineup because I really think that's a crapshoot.
I just think on the court with either of them is how I think.
I think he can fit with both. I think the fit with Al is almost better because Al is a reliable shooter from the outside.
Yeah.
But I also think Porzingis can learn from Al in the sense of moving the ball out of the post. I wrote about Horford and Porzingis for Celtics players. My first article I ever did, and they just published it because it was part of the theme this week. And somebody tweeted at me, it was like, well, he doesn't move the ball or something. And he said it in like a way I thought was funny. I was like, well, that's mean. And if Al Horford can teach him to pass out of the post, he can play high-low with Rob. Just throw Rob in the dunker spot. I mean, they're not playing a zone.
That's what I was just going to say.
The team does play the zone, perhaps like Miami. You can get some super cool dunks from Rob.
That's what I was going to say. All you have to teach Porzingis is get in the post. If you get doubled, just go like this. I'll do it. Whoop, just throw the ball and Rob will catch it. That's all you have to teach him. Also, sneaky, underrated part of this. I don't know if there's a better zone beater than throwing Porzingis at the free throw line.
Me.
Well, but like in terms of somebody who's in the NBA, like realistically, you want to beat the zone, throw Porzingis at the free throw line or in the post, and have him go to work. And if they help, easy pass the quarter. And for what it's worth, he's not as good of a facilitator. When has he ever had the opportunity to facilitate? He doesn't have the ball in his hands in Dallas. He doesn't exactly have the best weapons next to him in Washington. He didn't have the ball in his hands in New York or the best weapons outside of Melo, who was constantly on the ball. If he does get these chances in the post, which I do think that will be a bigger part of the Celtics offense, because I hopefully they give Porzingis the best chance to be the best version of himself. I say hopefully, then he will have as many weapons, more weapons than he's ever had to pass the ball to.
Could win MVP.
Well,
imagine if he did, and like we just clipped this. We're like, yeah, dude, like just we ball like nobody else.
No, I think realistically, I hope they go to it a lot. I think it's the perfect safety valve for when this offense goes to crap. My biggest concern, and I don't even want to call it a concern with KP, is he's just not the best rebounder for somebody who's 7'3". Like he's never averaged 10 boards a game. He's always
did 8 last year.
Yeah, he hovers around 8. But that's the only real like knock I have. And I think he'll be a better passer than you've seen in past years. Like what? Let me check his career averages. He averages, let's see if it'll load, 2.7 assists on his career. He averaged 2.7 in Washington last year. I think that number will probably be around 3.5 this year because of how much he'll just be in the position to set up his teammates. He has really good teammates in Boston. Not that that's a huge jump, but like in the context of he's going to have the ball in his hands a lot less as well. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. So good question. Thank you, Philip. We appreciate you.
This might sound silly. 2 things. One, what if Charles Lee is able to help them a little bit incorporate the way Milwaukee uses Brook Lopez as a defender?
Yeah.
With Porzingis being 7'3" and just being gigantic out there, he
although
could be a real problem for opposing teams.
I agree, but maybe we cut out the part where we leave role players open for 3 a lot. Maybe we don't incorporate that part of the Bucks defensive scheme.
It's true. Yeah. that part's on Budenholzer.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll leave it there.
Yeah.
We'll leave it there. Yeah.
And then, what that was the second thing? I don't remember. Not important. Oh,
I'm excited.
He's not going to have to really dominate the glass either. He's going to be able to help. But Tatum is very good on the board. So is Rob. Al Horford's not the best.
Jaylen Brown's pretty good, really good rebounder too. They've got guys who can board. Regardless, thank you, Philip. We appreciate you. We had a spam email from Pam Hill
webinar.
My Smart Cousins webinar. Can I block
anybody in real estate?
Unsubscribe from this list. Yeah, thank you. Unsubscribe.
Sorry, Pam.
Perfect. All right. Anyways, next email. Sorry, Pam. RJ, legend. Thank you. Biggest flaw to overcome, end of bench edition. Hey guys, this was prompted by Neil Ayer's piece on Celtics blog scouting Delano Banton from his first 2 games in Toronto. One thing about the footage that stood out, and not in a good way, was the way Banton would get disconnected from his man on defense and do a full 360-degree spin to recover his position. I can't. Sorry, I didn't read the article yet.
Kind of like Rudy Gobert.
Yes, guarding, was it Steph?
Yes.
I can't imagine any coach wanting to see that ever, or letting a player get real minutes if that was possible, or if that was a possible outcome on defense. Which got me wondering, what is the biggest bad habit for Walsh, Brissett, Mikhailo, and each of the other bus one boys to get rid of if they want more minutes? Hope it fills an episode of the pod. Thank you, RJ Johnson. We can run through these quick. I think it's pretty obvious in the count of Mikhailo and Hauser defense, and like just playing defense. Well, no, I meant Walsh is the consistent 3-point shooting. You're the worst. I'm not gonna cut it. You're just an asshole. I think it's polar opposites for actually kind of Walsh and Brissett. It's consistent 3-point shooting, and Mikhailo and Hauser, it's consistent defensive minutes. If you combined any of the 2 3-point shooters with any of the 2 defenders, they'd be a pretty damn good NBA role player.
Hauser doesn't do enough dunks.
He did 3 in 1 game last year, Sam.
Well, I know he can. We've seen that he can do it, but he doesn't do it enough.
Of course. Of course. Yes.
Like I'm starting to get close to dunking. Like you might see me dunk every time.
Mm-hmm. I think Delano Banton is probably the worst of these wings. I just because I think he's not a consistent 3-point shooter like Walsh and Brissett, but he's not, but he's also not as good of a defender as those guys, and so he just kind of has the worst traits of these. He's really more of a point guard. He's a good playmaker and he can get to the rim really well, but playing him at the wing position would ask him to be a 3-and-D guy, and he's just not that. The only problem is I don't know how many minutes he's going to get at the point guard position this year, probably none. And so if he's going to improve, he needs to be reliable on defense, which he can be with his frame, but he should maybe stop spinning on defense. But yeah, if you have a different thing, then let me know. But I think for Walsh and Brissett, it's just consistent 3-point shooting, more so for Brissett. And for Mikhailu and Hauser, it's just playing consistent defense. And if you want something out of the blue, like maybe Walsh is defending without fouling because he fouled a lot in Summer League.
I'll say this. I think Banton is a very interesting prospect of a player. I think it's super cool that he's long, he's tall, and he can handle the ball. And I would love to see him get the opportunity to actually get out and transition with the Celtics and make some problems for the opposing teams. I would also like to see him, oddly enough, develop a little bit of a post game. Here's why. Because this is just complete like mush brain for me, just thinking like, wow, this would be cool on 2K. But if you have Banton out there and you also have Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, and then pick any of two of the bigs or one of them and pick another wing, the other team's point guard is going to have to guard somebody big. And they're probably going to designate them to guard Banton, who is the least skilled offensive player of the bunch. So if you're able to punish that guard in the low post, much like they did with Smart on occasion when they would put guys on him, that could be a really effective way to at least make the opposing defense have to think or move or change the game plan or get uncomfortable.
Yeah, I understand. I don't think Delano Banton will probably get mad. I think
they need to run post-ups for Delano Banton.
I think you're too obsessed with post-ups.
I'm not entirely obsessed with post-ups. I just think it can be a useful weapon when you really want to take a team out of their defensive rhythm.
Sure.
More so with Porzingis helping them get
and
baskets.
Even Tatum. I'll give you Tatum too. I think
Tatum should post up more. Absolutely, yes.
Especially with his passing.
He had some 90-pound dumbbells on his chest today. Post up.
He did. He's also pretty good at passing out of the post. He made some really good sling passes to the corner out of there. So I think he can get some good actions. Anyways, thank you as always to Philip and RJ and anybody else who wants to email us. Please feel free. We appreciate it. We always check the email and we always enjoy reading the emails. It's become a regular part of our show now, which is I look forward.
People care to email us. Dude.
I enjoy.
We only had them trying to get us to go to real estate webinars.
This is true.
Yeah, still at that, but at least people care.
Thank y'all for tuning in. Next thing is checking in with a former Celtic, Aaron Baines.
Feel good.
Dominated in the NBL. You put this on here. I'll let you lead it. Hit me.
Yeah, well, he had 20 points and 20 rebounds in the NBL in Australia for the Brisbane Bullets, but they still lost.
Oh, well, that's not as fun.
But he couldn't walk. He had an injury in the Tokyo Olympics where he literally couldn't walk, and now he's back to playing pro basketball. So excellent for Aaron Baines.
Oh, yeah, good for Aaron Baines. I love it. Aaron Baines.
That's really all we had.
Should the Celtics sign him? Should they give him the last spot? Thoughts?
If you're going to give Baines the last spot, you might as well give it to Isaiah.
No, at least Baines can.
What do you mean, no? It's the same thing.
It's not. Baines can give you actual minutes of position of need. They don't.
He averages 11 points in the Australian League. You're really going to make me have to go at a guy that's recovering from a spine injury?
Yes. Anyways, I was
looking at the stats today because I was just curious. I was like, wow, is this a regular thing? And it was 11 points on 41% from the field. I was like, okay.
Wait, let me see. I got to look it up for myself now. You're making me.
I'm not lying to you. It's 41 or 44. It's not very impressive for a 7-foot guy.
Oh, this is 2 games. He's played 2 games. That's not fair. It's cherry picking.
On the NBL website, it has the entire 2022-23 season. He played 24 games, and he came off the bench for 14 of them in the NBL.
I see. Yeah. He started 26 games, it says last season, 26 out of 26, but he only averaged 11 points, 7.5 rebounds, shot 43.5% from the field. That said, 2.6 of his 10 shots were threes, so he took all threes. But no, I'm just fucking with you. I just want to get you mad. Anyways, shout out Aaron Baines. Glad he's doing well after the scary injury. Let's move on to the NBA section, and we'll start. Speaking of Australia, Sam,
Speaking
Ben
of
Simmons is back.
being fucking back.
He's back.
Ben Simmons is so back.
I'd say
I'm actually
the hardest...
nervous about our Vegas trip because the Nets are in the Celtics group.
Ben Simmons talked to the New York Post. I'd say the hardest part was not being able to do your job to the fullest. I never have excuses. I've never tried to say anything about different things going on, but I was dealing with an injury at the time, so I did what I could in the moment, and I owe it to everybody, the fans and everybody, to get back to where I need to be. That's what I did this summer to get back. I just think playing with the guys who are easy to play with, just that have that one goal, and that's to win. I don't think guys have too many individual goals. I think the team is going to come first, and I think the culture that Jacques Vaughn and Sean Marks are building has been incredible. Now, Sam, I was listening to, again, Front Office Show, Keith Smith, Trevor Lane. Go check it out after you're done listening to this, obviously. And I just want to echo Keith's sentiment. It's the meme. It's like just when you think you're out, he pulls you right back in. I'm in. I think he'll be a good player. I think he's gonna be good, man. I think
I'll believe it when I see it. That's my take.
I think what he said is fine. I truly don't think he's ever, since being in Brooklyn, I don't necessarily think he's made excuses for himself. I think the media has cultivated excuses, and I think they have painted him in a bad light. Rightfully so. He hasn't been on the court.
I mean, he went on the Reddit pod and tried to tell a sob story.
And I don't think
I worked so hard, blah, 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 and then he didn't play again.
I don't think he is completely at fault. I don't think he's void of fault, right? However, if there was ever a situation for Ben Simmons to get back to himself, it's playing with a rim-rolling lob threat in Nick Claxton, a great defender in Mikal Bridges, setting up a great defense. Mikal Bridges is also a 45% three-point shooter, 40 whatever percent. Cam Johnson, elite three-point shooter. Dorian Finney-Smith, good three-point shooter. Royce O'Neal, good three-point shooter. Spencer Dinwiddie can shoot three. Playing on a team with all shooters and one rim-running threat as the point guard, and they clarified he wants to play point guard. He's going to be a point guard. That's what everyone said. If there's ever a situation for Ben Simmons to go into it and be great with, realistically, as much as like you can say, oh, he's putting expectations on himself by saying this maybe, or he's just explaining what happened. I don't care. In terms of the team's expectations, there are no expectations for him to be amazing. The Nets are not expected to be a good team. I don't know. I think this is the perfect situation for him to be back. I'm not saying he's going to be an all-star. I'm not saying he's going to be amazing. I think he'll be an all-defensive player against next season, averaging like 13, 8, and 8 or something. Like he's not going to be amazing, but he's going to be close to back to what he was when he was in Philly. But he just won't have the opportunities to be.
I think Ben Simmons is the boy that cried wolf, and I'm not going to believe him until I see him actually do something.
And that's fair.
I'm not saying it's impossible, and I agree with a lot of the things you had to say. Like, yes, it does make sense. Like, if they have a ton of shooting, he should be able to thrive. But I mean, he was playing with KD and Kyrie. Like, he could kick to those guys, and they could be reliable to knock down. He didn't even want to take the floor. They had this same bunch of guys that they have now for the second half of the season, and he was either injured or did not want to take the floor. So, and I don't really know how he's getting injured if he's not really playing. So I'm not going to believe it until he's out there actually doing stuff.
That's fine. And you have every
He's like first team all clown.
I'm in on Ben Simmons. We'll see what happens.
Who else? First team all clown. Go. Ben Simmons and who else? Dylan Brooks.
Yeah, Dylan Brooks. Maybe I'm gonna make both.
Yeah, Grant. First team all clown. Good pick.
No, I love him. That's a good question. We need 2 more to fill the first team all clown.
I feel like we're missing people. This is bad.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like there's like big guys out there that's like so obvious, but they have to be active. You can't just like pick out random dudes from history.
Tyler Hero? Is he all clown?
He's borderline.
James Harden, all clown.
Yeah, James Harden clown team.
Mm-hmm.
Not Wiseman.
We did draft for this, right?
We did like a all talk, no walk draft, but it wasn't clown. It was a little different.
Yeah.
Who else is a clown, bro? There's a guy. DeAndre Ayton's kind of a clown.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's a good one. I don't know if
Chris Paul's like borderline clown right now too. He refused to come off the bench. He's gonna be mellow.
Anyways, we'll move on from all clown. Hit me with this because you put it on here. I saw it briefly, but I don't understand the full context. Nick Nurse is gonna run Joel Embiid into the ground. Is that's what's happening right now?
Yeah, so Nick Nurse was asked how he plans on using Joel Embiid this year, or perhaps how he plans on not having him get hurt. In his answer,
Sure.
I think that we are looking at it maybe a little different than people think we might be. We're trying to get him to play more games. Our goal is that it's going up for him, not the other direction. And some people would say, "Oh, that's playoffs. Is he going to be?" This doesn't make sense. We're just trying to get it going the other direction. I think that's just what our people believe here, that he can play. And again, knock on wood, cross our fingers, all that stuff. There's always things that can come up with that stuff, but I don't know. I believe in guys playing as much as they can. Let's see what happens. I kind of agree with that, actually. I think like the load management is kind of bad. And I mean, Paul George said it, and I kind of agree with it. Like these guys, like sometimes playing, sometimes not, instead of getting their bodies conditioned for playing consistently, is kind of a bad thing. I think if they really want Joel Embiid to be healthy, stop the falling.
True. I wonder how much of that was like his past coaches, and if Nick Nurse is going to say cut the shit, because I know he's talked about it a lot, saying like they've taught me to fall so it doesn't like
Nick
hurt my
Nurse
knees.
is like the biggest rat of all time. Do you think he probably will flop on the sideline? Nick Nurse.
Well, no,
never mind
I understand.
telling Embiid not to do it.
I understand the falling. Joel Embiid's explained that like my coaches have told me to fall because I have knee problems, and if I land on my knees too hard, I will hurt. So like I understand taking pressure off his knees, but it does make him look like a clown. Which I'll clown. There you go. Yeah, I don't know. I agree with the sense that like playing more will keep you like in shape and in game shape and less risk for injuries, but there's only so far you can go. Like playing Joel Embiid 82 games probably is not the best idea for the playoffs for a guy who has historically gotten tired by the end of the regular season in the playoffs. So we'll have to see the balance there.
You'll make that man go on some runs.
Get to jogging, buddy. Next one,
Speaking
Damian Lillard. Yeah, Damian Lillard all clown now. This came from a Florida sports account, I believe. So
Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald.
Yeah, so take it with a grain of salt if you'd like.
No, not grain of salt. He's real.
No, I know, but like it's coming from a certain angle. So
sure,
obviously. Regardless, report. If Damian Lillard is traded to a team other than Miami, he is expected to ask to be traded to the Heat.
Correct me if I'm wrong, isn't there like a recently traded restriction in the NBA too?
Yeah, he can't be immediately traded.
Yeah. I mean, this is getting to an all-time ridiculous level. I have to feel like at this point, like they're just kind of fucking with everybody because people are mad about this as it is. And like, they're just like, what would make people more mad? It's like, well, if I don't get my way the first time, I'm going to cry again. I cannot believe that the league has not stepped in further and been like, knock it off. Like they sent that whole memo and then his agent got kind of shook.
I wonder if
like,
this,
hey, he'll play wherever.
I wonder if this will prompt them to this report.
I mean, what's the solution to this? Because we had a discussion in the Celtics blog chat yesterday, and like both sides have valid points. Like players shouldn't have no say if they're going to get traded or if they make a trade request. Like it shouldn't be like they shouldn't completely get screwed in their destination. But at the same time, like he's not only holding the entire league hostage, like there are definitely players that have not signed contracts yet because this thing is looming over a few teams where like, let's just use Austin Rivers. Austin Rivers might not have signed a contract yet because they're waiting. Teams are waiting to see what happens with this. What players are going to be on what roster? Who actually needs guard depth? They don't know yet. So that's one angle to this. The other angle is, well, players are signing contracts. These contracts are no longer contracts with teams. And this is, I will stand by this. I may write an article about it. I don't know where I'll write it, but I may write it. They're NBA contracts. So Damian Lillard got his money from the Blazers. He got them to sign him to a $60 million for 2 years extension on top of what he already has. He's under contract through what, 2026? Longer? Not sure. A long time. So he is financially secure for a long time. When he signed the contract, let's not act like the Portland Trailblazers were storming to the finals, because they sure weren't. They were just about the same as they are now. There is nothing that has changed. He knew what he was getting himself into for the most part. They may have said, we're going to do this, this, and this, and it didn't work out. But now he's holding them hostage. Now Miami is able to play hardball with them and screw them even further, but he's financially secure. So there needs to be a better balance to all of this. And I don't know what the solution is. I don't think anybody really knows what the solution is. Otherwise, we would have seen one by now. But this is starting to get kind of ridiculous.
Listen, like you said, we talked about this in Celtics blog chat. I don't even know if I chimed in, but I had thoughts.
You did not.
I kind of silently usually sit there and I look. I don't know. That's what I do. I think that teams are allowed to trade players regardless of what
Correct.
they feel, regardless of their families' lives,
Not
regardless
fair.
of anything going
Not
on.
necessarily fair.
Exactly, not fair. It should be somewhat of a two-way street. It should no strike the somewhat. It should be a two-way street. Players should be able to say, "Hey, I don't want to be here. I signed this contract, but if you have the right to trade me and my family to wherever you want, regardless of how I feel, I should be able to want to leave." Right. And I'll take it a step further. I think players, if they want to, if Dame went to Miami or Portland and said, "Hey, I want to be traded. I would like to go with Miami," and that was the end of it, fine. Right. All the extracurricular, all of the, I will not play anywhere else but Miami. I will not even show up to training camp. I will ask for a trade to the Heat if I go to the team. That's where it's too far, because that's just bad for the league. That's bad for everything. That's nothing's going to get accomplished that way. It's going to paint him in a bad light. It's going to put the Trailblazers in an impossible situation because, like you said, now the Heat are able to stranglehold the Trailblazers, and that's where it becomes a problem. If Dame came out and said, "I want to go to Miami," or if he just take it a step back, if he just went to Portland and said, "Hey, I want to go to Miami, please get that done," fine. That's fine. The issue is when it gets leaked, when they're in contact with the Heat, when everyone knows it and the Heat can leverage it. That's the problem. Even if he said, like, I don't think the issue, I'm just having this thought now, so sorry if I'm rambling. This wasn't something I planned.
It's fine.
I think the issue isn't what Dame wants. I don't think it's a problem that even if he went to the Trailblazers privately, keyword privately, and said, "I only want to play for the Heat. Do whatever you need to do, but trade me the Heat, please." That'd be fine, because then nobody else knows that he only wants to go to the Heat, and the Trailblazers can still get an adequate package in return, and everything would be fine. The fact that this is all out, the fact that Dame has effectively told Miami, "Hey, I'm only playing for you guys, so like do what you want, do whatever you can," and Dame literally posted something on his Instagram story, reposted that said Heat Legend on it. That's the problem, because then the Trailblazers are actively getting screwed in the situation, which is the problem. And so I think players should be allowed to request trades. I think players should be allowed to even say, "Here are some teams I would like to play for."
Here's some teams, yes. Not one single team.
I don't even have a problem with one
team.
I don't have a problem with one team if it's a private request, right? If it's going to be a public thing, give multiple teams and let that out. If it's a single request, then that's where the problem is, because then that team can leverage and not give a fair deal. If it is multiple teams and they're bidding against each other and it's fair, there can't be no competition for that one team, and I think that's where the problem is. And I don't know if that was because Dame leaked it. I don't know if that's because the agents leaked it. I don't know if that's because the Heat got whiff of it and leaked it themselves. And if that's the case, then the Heat need to be punished, because that's a part of the problem. So I don't have a problem with Dame requesting a trade. I don't have a problem with Dame requesting a trade to the Heat. I have a problem with how it's been publicly handled because of the ramifications that the Heat can get away with in that trade. And I've seen Matt Moore, Hardwood Paroxysm, is that what it's called?
Yes.
Action Network on Twitter, go to bat for this a lot. He goes, "Heat fans, stop acting like you're getting screwed. Just say you want the really good player on your team and be accepting of the fact that the Blazers are getting screwed by the Heat in this situation." And he's right. The Blazers are getting screwed.
They are.
And like I said, don't have a problem with Dame wanting to leave, right? Of any player in the NBA, he has a right to want to leave because they haven't been able to put a competitive team around him. I don't even have a problem with him saying, "I would like to go here." I don't have a problem with him saying, "I'd like to go to the Heat." If I'm a free agent, or if I'm a player requesting a trade, fuck, I want to go to the Heat. They have the perfect situation for me to win a title. The problem is the way it's handled publicly, because of the ramifications it has, and the Heat don't have to give up the best package possible. That is the problem. And because of that, and because of the way it's handled, then the problems are going to fall back onto the request itself, which at that point, fair enough, because it was made public, and that's the fault of whoever's fault it was.
I also want to add, there are people that have painted the Blazers as if they are bad in this situation. because
Yeah, I
they
don't get
don't
that.
want to give him to Miami for free. And that's not even why I'm upset. Again, Portland paid him the extension that he wanted. Like, they didn't screw him. There are tons of instances in the NBA where players get screwed. I just watched it happen to Marcus Smart this summer. Like, let's call a spade a spade. Like, it happens. I agree. Like,
Sure.
it's not necessarily fair that these guys just have their lives like derooted and then they have to go live somewhere else and move. I mean, Smart just got married. He has to move to Memphis now and live there.
Yeah.
After
10 years
planting
Boston.
roots in Boston,
9
right?
years, whatever. Yeah.
Like, it's not necessarily fair to him, but he still gets money. Every financial aspect of his contract is intact. It is not affected by that. The team, however, does not necessarily get the same value that they paid for the player. Meaning, okay, let's say Miami has to match Dame's salary. Okay, well, Portland has to take back whatever Dame makes now, close to $40 million. And we
45.
said, okay, 45. And we said earlier in the show, like, they can do it without even giving up Tyler Hero, like Lowry and Duncan Robinson. That gets your deal done. So you're losing a ton of value. Like, really, Duncan Robinson and Kyle Lowry? That's what you're getting for your money that you're spending? Like, that's not fair.
Yeah,
But
I
I don't think it's necessarily right that the player is going to get blindsided by a trade. I don't know if that's the best either. I don't know what the solution
this is
is.
my
That's why
thing.
we had this chat.
This is my thing. I think the Trailblazers are correct to want the best possible package and waiting for it because they can tank with Dame on the roster. You've said it; it's been said.
Sure.
I think the Heat are correct for not wanting to give up the
if I was
absolute
a
max.
Heat fan, I'd be like, dude, get him for free. Where are all these free trades I see every team get? I bitch about it all the time.
And this is going to be where we disagree. I don't think, in the sense that of hit. Let me finish my thought. In the sense of wanting out and having a preferred destination, I don't think Dame is in the wrong because that's a fine thing to want from a player's perspective. The problem is how it's all handled publicly and how that affects everything, because now you have a position where no one's going to fucking move because the Heat aren't going to want to give up the max because they know that's the only place to go. Exactly. So you're screwing everybody. So I think the public part is the problem.
I don't think you can just be like, I'll play only for this team. And this is not what you're saying. There's nothing wrong with being like, I would prefer that you send me to Miami, but it's okay. I will play for another team is how it should be handled. Not, I will get traded to the Heat or I will request a trade to the Heat again.
And I'm going to paraphrase you here. You know what that mindset's for? Free agency.
Correct.
That's what that is.
Free agency.
You can want to go to a different organization. You can even have some preferred organizations. You can even have one preferred one and some, I'd be okay here too. But saying nowhere else too bad, I think that's...
The financial security that comes along with a contract is a benefit you get for the risk of not necessarily being in the perfect situation that you can handpick.
Yep. Sure. Speaking of a not perfect situation, Andrew, listener of the pod, we're talking about the Knicks, baby. Here you go. James Dolan, who owns the Knicks. Where did he say this? Do you know where he said this?
This was the New York Times. Right.
Quote, verbatim. All right, buddy. I don't really like owning teams.
Where did he say this? I don't really like owning teams, Dolan told the New York Times.
I didn't get there yet. I was looking at the timestamps, all right?
Okay.
Dolan owns the Knicks and the Rangers. 68-year-old told the Times, the Rangers Knicks are, quote, near and dear to my heart, but he is turned off by the economics involved in ownership, calling it, quote, kind of sleepy.
Yeah. And then all the Knicks fans, like all of New York, cried, then sell the team, because they've been begging him to sell the team for years. Players don't want to play there because he's so dysfunctional at the top, and he built that super cool sphere in Vegas.
You know what's crazy? Yeah. You know what's crazy? As much as I know you don't like the Knicks, I know you don't like it because it's whatever.
Oh, I root against them.
If they had good ownership, they'd probably be pretty good because players want to play for New York.
Yeah, I don't get why, but they sure do.
I mean, it's New York City. It's the biggest city in America. Like, it's just, of course, people want to play there. It's the best marketing opportunity, stuff like that. You can get stuff. I can understand why. Yeah, sure. I get you're an asshole. I guess I get why people want to play for New York, but I mean, you saw it 2 years ago. As much as we don't like to talk about the Rat, Kyrie and KD literally said, "Yeah, let's play New York, but let's play for
the other team." Yeah.
Yeah, both of which had enough money to pay them.
Yes.
So funny.
This one.
Sorry,
can be a quick one.
sorry, Knicks fans.
We talked about this already, but HBO Max or Max is going to have a new sports package that will feature the MLB playoffs, NBA games, March Madness, and more. The opening tip-off game of this season, where the Nuggets will raise their banner against the Lakers, will be featured on there. And I believe it'll be free until February. And then at the end of February, people are going to have to start opening their wallets to get these games. Now, I'm not sure that this means that they're going to leave cable. Truthfully, I probably should have looked into it more if I was going to put it on the show sheet like an idiot. But yeah, you're going to have like weird split of rights now in streaming. So good luck.
Mm-hmm. So this is off topic. The streaming stuff is whatever. It's weird. It happens. Like I feel like this is how the world's going to be now. People are just going to get shit. Max used to be HBO Max. And because of the name change, or right after the name change, they lost 2 million users because it was like, oh, what's Max? I don't know what Max is.
Yeah, why am I getting charged for Max?
Yeah.
Even though it's the same thing and you probably get more.
Yeah, there's a stupid name change. Why would you? It's like Twitter changing his name to X.
Stuff, dude.
I do too. I pay for too much
bleeding me dry. I couldn't tell you last time I watched some on HBO. Not that they don't have good stuff, but I just haven't been watching.
I agree. Buddy Hield has not requested a trade, but basically the Pacers have started looking for a trade for Buddy Hield because they couldn't come to an agreement on a contract extension. Shams Charania, The Athletic, reported it. In his report, he said Pacers offered him a deal. Buddy Hield said wasn't good enough, basically, and so they're going to trade him, which makes sense. Entering the last year of his deal makes roughly $19.3 million. Tyler Conway of Bleacher Report listed the Celtics as one of 3 teams to watch as a potential trade. Makes sense. If Brogdon is pissed, you get an extra shooter in there.
Right back to Indiana.
Yeah, in terms of a pure shooter, Buddy Hield would probably be pretty good. You can get T.J. McConnell or Daniel Tice back as well in the deal if you throw in.
It would be so fun if they brought
back a couple
Tice
minimum
again.
Contracts. It'd be great, right? Then you'd have 2 guards in Pritchard and Derek White to run the point. You'd be fine. Get some shooting. It's not great, but then you sign Austin Rivers and maybe you get another guard in there.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. But Buddy Hield trade. He also listed the Lakers and got the hiccup, Spurs as teams to watch. Maybe.
Why would
I like the
right now.
I don't know. I like the Pelicans. I think they make sense. I think the Lakers make sense. They could trade D'Lo pretty easily and be fine. Yeah, Buddy Hield though, going to be a name on the trade market. What do you think?
I feel like he's been on the trade market.
I don't know.
Him and Miles Turner, I mean, just perpetually might get traded guys.
Sure. He scored more points of anybody in his draft class.
Yep, and that was Jalen's draft class.
Jalen, Brandon Ingram. It's because he's played a lot of games and he's a 3-point shooter. Like he's always had.
Jalen's played a lot of games too, but he hasn't always had a large role.
Yeah. All right, let's get into Sam's Reddit post today. What you got?
Quick. This comes from user _ Sahil _ on the NBA community. They ask, who has the worst contract in the league compared to their value on the court? He said, she said, for me, it would have to be Benjamin Simmons. He's getting paid max contract, $30 million a year to sit on the bench, dressed like a clown. Literally dressed like a clown. I love that picture of Ben Simmons. Some good answers here in the replies, but I'll open it to you. I also have one, but I'm assuming you will be like that guy.
I don't know. Probably. Oh, Rudy Gobert. He's got to be up there.
Rudy Gobert. Okay, that's a good pick. That's not what I was going to pick. I was going to say Jeremy Grant.
Jeremy Grant's going to be a good one. That's going to be a really good one. Past that, Fred VanVleet's going to be a good answer.
Fred VanVleet.
Dylan Brooks.
Julius Randle.
Tobias Harris, but it's not really his fault. Like he was just he was paid like a max player, but asked to be the third, fourth option. I don't think that's his fault. Past that, Zion Williamson.
Zion? Kyle Lowry, definitely. He's like $30 million. He's not healthy anymore.
That was a bad deal for the Heat. Absolutely. Imagine how much more wiggle room they could have.
They can trade him for a
contract. This is true. They were thinking ahead. Past
Lillard,
that, I don't think there's
going
too
to be a
much.
bad deal by the end of his contract. Stand by it.
Lillard, DeAndre Ayton, probably. He's fine.
Even his isn't that much, is it? What's it, like 25?
No, he's got a max.
He has a max?
32, 34, 35, 5.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Man,
dude. Pacers offered him a max and some done a match.
Top reply. Luol
Hmm.
Deng is still getting paid in 2022, or he was.
He was, yes, he was.
Someone said Timofey Mozgov just finished getting paid not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Isaac has earned $34.8 million in the last 2 years and has played a total of 124 minutes. $280,000 earned per minute played. Lonzo has played 3 months of a 4-year, $80 million contract. Sorry, Lonzo. Gordon Hayward.
I'm getting a call. Sorry, I'll decline it. The Celtics are currently paying a player who hasn't played for the team since. Let me check here. They are currently still playing a player who hasn't played for the team since the 2016-17 season. Who is it? There's some trivia for you.
17.
See it on the books all the time.
Oh, man.
He played.
Please don't tell me just yet.
Do you want context? Just for the sake of the viewers, played 3 years in the NBA, 1 season with Boston. Then he went to Houston, got traded to Philly, and then played 1 year pass with Philly. Appeared in 26 total NBA games, 5 of which with the Celtics.
5 games.
Yep.
And he finished his career in Philly.
This year, the Celtics are paying him $92,857. Who is it? He's currently 29 years old. Let me see.
Went to the Rockets.
Let me see if he's playing anywhere right now around the world. Not that it would help you, but just for the sake of the podcast. He is currently playing internationally, I believe, which makes sense. No, he hasn't played since 2020, 2021. He played for a couple teams. Played for Lietuvos Rytas. Sorry, apologies. Which is in the... Where the hell is this? I'm stumping you, huh? This is a good...
I'm trying to flip through my head who was on that 17 team. Isaiah Avery Bradley. Yeah. These are nice guys that it would be. But Isaiah Avery Bradley, Crowder was on that team. Horford.
I played in Lithuania.
Nah, dude, I got nothing.
He went to college. He went to college at Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Yeah. This is fun. I'm stumping you.
Nah, I don't know.
Demetrius Jackson.
I was gonna guess that, but I thought he was more recent than that, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, still paying him $90,000. This is the last year they'll be paying him though, so it'll be off the books. But there you go. Celtics still paying him.
I've seen that spot. I'm actually pretty pissed with myself.
That's where I always see it. All right, let's get into the rat list. I'll put it up on the screen. Sam, you have a large rat list today, so I'm gonna let you kick it off.
All right. I'll start with a short one.
Sure.
A pitcher on the Toronto Blue Jays was complaining in the recent days that he was having neck pain, those weird neck spasms you get, or in his shoulder maybe.
Sure. Because
he only was able to sleep 11 hours rather than 13 to 14 hours a night. I sure would like to sleep that much.
Wait, he complained because what?
He was only getting 11 hours of sleep per night.
Only, not like too much sleep.
Correct.
And did he give context as to what he thought he should be getting?
13 to 14 hours.
So over half the day.
Correct.
Wow.
Tell you, time flies when you're sleeping.
That is that's something, man. That's what a take. What was this guy's name? Blue Jays.
Good luck, dude.
Yeah. Blue Jays pitcher. All right. I'll rat list first. I went to Starbucks today. I was getting my coffee right after I went to my aunt's house. It's fine. Apple crisp espresso is what I got. Not very good. Sorry. Yeah. It wasn't it. I was upset.
You were excited about it. You told me about it. You were like, I can't wait to try this.
I thought it was good. It was just apple crisp and coffee don't mix. Just that's what it is. What it is. Unfortunate. So rat list, my disappointment.
Rat list, the garbage truck. So I was going on my break at work today, and to get to the highway, I have to drive around little side streets to get there. And I passed intersection. In that intersection, parked is a garbage truck with the workers collecting garbage from the cans on the side of the road. So they are blocking an entire intersection to pick up trash. Rat list.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it for Rat List. That's one. Rat List, the person in the car ahead of me today. I don't like using my horn, but if you are going to sit at a green arrow turning green light and not go for the first 10 seconds of the light, Rat List. You're going to make the Rat List. I just barely got through the light because it turned yellow. I was like, because you know how you're like, okay, are they going to go? I don't want to honk too prematurely if they're not going to go. And at one point, I was just like, all right, I got to get this going. So I honked and they went. But it was like, what are we doing? Like, even if you're on your phone, you give a little courtesy look up to go to like the light. I'm as much at fault of that as the next person. But like, why? What are we doing? If you're in front at a light, especially, like, come on.
Yeah.
So have a little respect.
You have a responsibility to uphold.
That's what I'm saying. Thank you.
Rat list age. Today I was on Twitter and I saw a link to one of those pages that's like, take this quiz and we'll guess what state you're from. And I did like 50 questions of the guess, like just taking your answers.
Sure.
And I've never felt so old, dude. Like,
no.
That's like an old person going through Facebook. Like, oh, which character, which what are they?
Which minion are you?
Which minion are you? Like those kind of things. And I'm like, wow, I really just did that because I wanted to see if they would know. And
what
they
state
were
are you
like,
from?
You're from the Northeast.
So they didn't give you a state?
No, well, they listed Rhode Island, but they also listed like New York, Pennsylvania.
Ratless the quiz. Ratless the quiz.
Yeah, they cheated. Like, it was like, which team do you support? And I was like, okay, like, I'll kind of play along. And it was like 4 colleges, and one of them was Boston College. I was like, okay, like, I'll throw them a bone. So, like, yeah, it really was a tough guess for them. And it was like, oh, like, what's like a good winter activity for you? Is it skiing and sledding, playing tennis, surfing?
Yeah, I understand why you would feel old. That's tough.
Yeah, I was just going through them. I was like, let's see if they can guess Rhode Island.
Random rat list. Do you know what states are in New England?
Yes.
Tell me.
Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Connecticut.
Within the past year, like, whenever that topic of conversation has come up, anybody I ever talked to thinks New York is in New England.
Really? Who thinks that? Do you think that, listener?
No.
Are you a moron?
Yeah. What, like, how? And not even New York, like New York, New Jersey, probably. I'm like,
no, that's like New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania is the tri-state area.
Yeah, it's the mid-Atlantic region.
Yeah,
combined with Delaware and something else, I think. Yeah,
Posers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Anti-ratless quick, Jimmy John's. I got it today.
You can go to Jersey Mike's.
No, sorry, Jimmy. I meant Jersey Mike's. Jimmy, I get them confused. They're the same thing, but Jersey Mike's is better. Got Jersey Mike's today. Sam texted me. He goes, I've been getting Jersey Mike's. I get the club sub, which is like ham, turkey, bacon bits and stuff. I got some chips too, just because those Miss Vicky chips. Yeah.
Gotta get all the juice and stuff on it.
Dude, it's so good. I ate that whole. I wasn't even hungry when I ate it. I'm like, well, I hadn't eaten yet, but I didn't feel hungry. But I was like, yeah, I'll start eating. I
usually get a regular today. I was like, I'll do a giant.
Dude, it's if you
Double
have
points Wednesday.
Promote non-promotional, but promoting Jersey Mike's. We'll get you some Jersey Mike's.
Yeah. They just put all that shit on your sandwich, dude. It's like, oh my god.
It's fire. The oil.
I might go day 3 in a row tomorrow for lunch.
I might get it. I might get it again tomorrow. You might have hooked me.
Yeah.
Anyways, what you got?
Okay, so this can be a rat investigation. She may be in the right when it comes to this issue.
Okay.
My mom, first time possible rat list. My mom texts me today and she says, I'm going to get my hair done, and I pull into the salon, and there are all regular cars parked in the electric spaces. So I called the police and also the state to see if they're allowed to do that. Now, I used to work for the news, and part of my job at the news was to answer the phone, and I would get calls about things like this. And They were a waste of my time every single time. And then I just said, I was like, you're actually the worst. But I do see why this could be an issue. Like, what are you parking their electric car space if you don't drive an electric car? Like, this is like a contentious point. Like, I can see that. She did try and compare it to the handicap spaces. I don't know if it's exactly the same, but
It's not at all the same. Not even close to the same. It's on another planet. It's not the same at all. Were there other spots you could have parked in? Like, were there other open spots?
Well, it's not so much the spot, it's that they have a place to charge your car. Like, the reason the spots are designated so you can, like, essentially getting gas. So she could have been there without charge, and she could need the charge to get home. So, like, I kind of get the issue.
Was the parking lot packed, though? Like, were there other spots for her, or was the point of it, like,
sure there were other spots, but she wanted to charge the car.
No, but my point is, if there was nowhere else to park, like, those people are probably there like, oh, I want to go here, but there's no other place to park. So, like,
I don't think it was full. No.
Okay, maybe that's slightly wrestling them, but calling the police is
making it a big issue is very difficult. Yes,
you know what you do? You go into the business, say, "Hey, is anybody parking the spot? I need to charge my car. Do you mind, moving?"
You would not do that.
I wouldn't. Absolutely. You know what I would do? I would park another spot and get over.
I would just park in another spot and go about my day.
But
you're absolutely right.
But my point is, in the process
of
in like the timeline or whatever you call it, the scale of
the hierarchy of reactions to this, it's like go about your day, maybe go in and ask people to move, and then call everybody.
Not even call everybody, call the police. It's like,
did
they show up?
Well, she called the police. Yeah, the police showed up.
And
let me see if I have a verdict.
Did she like get tickets on like 7 people's cars?
I think she wanted to get them tickets because she was asking if they would get tickets for being in. Yeah, but you also like should not. I think she has a point, but I think it's drastic.
She just the hierarchy. She took it too far.
Let's see. Getting my hair done. All the electric spaces here are taken up by regular cars. I called the property management, city police department, and the state of Rhode Island electric vehicle department. I asked police if they don't have to go by the same rules as handicap. The property management might get a tax break for putting those spaces in.
Did the police get back to her? Did she anything?
I don't know. I didn't really get an update.
That's crazy to me. So, but that tells me she got into her hair appointment fine. She just was mad that she couldn't get.
Yeah, exactly.
Fire.
Then she was like, "Well, what if I just parked behind 2 of them so I could plug my car in?" And then they were trapped in. So she wanted to like trap them out of spite. Which I do kind of respect. Like, I'm the same guy. It's like, I really would like to drive a tank.
You do love spite. It's passed down. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Well, I fell a little far from the tree.
I think that's a generational thing, though. I don't think that's whatever the word is.
Yeah.
Like, people in that generation, like people like versus us, like, not only would I not call, I don't like making phone calls in general. So I wouldn't want to make the phone call. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Yeah, no,
I'd rather text. If I could text the police, that'd be great.
Phone calls are obsolete.
Yeah, out on phone calls. Oh man, yeah, slight rat list maybe, but I understand the point. I get it.
I think she has a point, but again,
it's
just go about your day, ask, call everybody.
Yeah. Sam, do you want to guess calories?
Yes. Yeah, I forgot about that.
I got it. So last episode, for those listening, Sam loves guessing calories because he's a dirty calorie counter, and I mock him all the time for it. So I've brought some snacks for him to guess the calories of. I found 5 more snacks today if I can find them. 1, 2, 3,
better than last time.
4. Yeah, you were mid last time. I'm not gonna lie. Where's my 5th snack? I had a 5th snack, but I don't know where I put it. Uh-oh. I'm sure it'll pop up as I'm going. Oh, found it. It was right here. All right, we're gonna start with this. Farmhouse Thin and Crispy milk chocolate chip cookies. Now, I'll give you the serving size so you can get context.
Yes.
Serving size is 2 cookies. You want me to pull out a cookie and show you what it looks like?
Okay,
This is a cookie. So 2 of these, how many calories?
2 of those?
2 of these cookies.
I'm going to guess 110 calories.
140. Ooh, drop it. Close, but no cigar.
Too much credit.
Yeah. There you go. 140 calories for the Farmhouse.
But nobody's just eating 2 cookies.
No, not at all. No, absolutely.
That's why it becomes dangerous.
Yeah,
You
I'll house
can
5
eat
of
whatever
those.
you want. You just have to pay attention to how much you eat. That's where it
Yeah,
gets difficult.
which I again will not. Is that 0-calorie sparkling water there for you?
Sure is. Yeah, 0.
All right,
Look at that. 0 for the serving size, 0 for the whole bottle. You just go nuts.
there you go. Well, yeah, that's how 0 works. You fucking
Yeah.
asshole.
Some of them,
Next
it's like
one.
10 for the whole bottle. It's like, what are you doing?
Frosted animal crackers. These are good. These are very
And
good.
that is this the whole bag? Is the serving?
Serving size is 1 pouch. Yeah, and there are about. Let me feel around for you. I'd say like 8
What's
to
the
10
weight?
animal crackers in there. 28 grams.
28 grams.
Animal crackers. Frosted animal crackers for those listening at home.
I'm gonna guess 200 calories.
140. Not a bad little snack. It's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. 140.
You're only
not
getting 8,
terrible.
and they're probably only like this big.
Yeah, it's okay. That's
It's
what.
tough. A lot of the designated snack bags are 140-ish. I should know better.
Yeah. Next up, my mom's found in the cabinet because I was looking for snacks. Banana chips.
Banana chips.
Little banana chips. Serving size, there are 4 per container. Serving size is 40 grams of banana chips.
What does that say on the front underneath banana chips? Is that unsweetened? Unsalted?
Unsulfured.
Sulfured?
Unsulfured. No GMOs in here. It's organic.
And the serving is what, 40 grams, you said?
Yeah, about half a cup is what it says.
Half
There are
a cup?
4 serving size per bag, and this is open, but it's pretty full bag.
I feel like the whole bag is probably like 250. So I will say 60 calories per bag or per serving.
200 per serving.
Really?
That's what it said. Amount per serving. 200.
They got to be putting
calories.
like caramel and shit on those because that should not be the case. For dried fruit,
Ingredients: organic banana, organic coconut oil, organic sugar.
the sugar is what it is.
Total sugar. Can I find it? Total sugar is 9 grams.
I think that's I don't know. I don't know how much.
A lot though. That's
I'm kind of
200.
surprised by that.
I was surprised at 200.
Because they have bags of like dried strawberries and you can like eat the whole bag. Mind you, you could say the bag is like this big. This big.
Yeah.
And it's like 200 calories for the whole bag, maybe.
I want to eat one of these banana chips. Like, are they even good? Hold up. Let me. Like 200 calories is a lot.
For half a cup.
These are so sweet.
Yeah,
Mm.
okay. Well, that's where it comes from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are very sweet.
That's why I wanted to know what it said underneath because I wanted to know. I should have just
Unsulfured.
assumed.
The initial. It sounds like it's just like coated in sugar, which is fine. But like, whatever. Anyways, last thing. A travel frosted mini wheats cereal. One serving
cereal's a
per
tough one.
container. 1 serving per container. 71 grams in here. This is frosted mini wheats serving. What
I
are we
don't know
thinking?
shit about mini wheats.
Strawberry mini wheats, fire. Best mini wheat.
I'm like inclined to guess like 140 calories, but I'll say that. Yeah.
I'm gonna wrong. I'm gonna give you a clue. You have to consider that, like, this is somebody's full breakfast. So like this is a full meal. So it's that's what.
Is this,
I'll just go.
does it say without milk? That was gonna be my
250.
next guess, actually.
250. Yeah.
Like 250.
It just says per container, like 250
Okay.
calories per pack. So 250 there. How are you? Are you happy with?
Little bar thing.
Oh,
you're gonna-
yes. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
I ate one of these during the show. You probably saw it earlier if you're watching on YouTube. Chex Mix peanut butter chocolate. This shit was so fucking good. Very good. Very happy. How many calories? What do we got for this little snack?
Let's see. I
you
can't
want
tell how
grams?
big it is. Yeah.
32 grams.
32 grams.
Got some heft.
Peanut butter is a high calorie item. Nuts and granola is a high calorie ish item. I'm gonna guess 200 calories.
Hey Sam, what did we learn about snacks? It's 140.
It's 140.
Snacks are 140, baby. There we go. That's what we're learning. Except for
you want to guess the
goldfish,
serving
which is
size of
130.
my Impopnito
the
caramel apple?
calories? Oof,
Yeah,
calories.
There are 3 servings in this big bag. Serving
you're
is 70
housing it,
grams.
If you're housing it,
The whole bag?
do you eat the whole bag in one sitting?
Not this size bag.
200?
230 Good guess.
Okay.
For one serve.
I swore you told me 200. Maybe I'm tripping. Okay. Not bad. Not bad. Anyways, what's Jersey Mike's? You know off the top of your head?
The sub I had today was 1,520.
Ooh, big boy.
It was actually 1,580 because I got the rosemary parm bread. So
that I might need to try that. That sounds really good.
You've never had the bread?
Not the rosemary parm bread. I've had the bread on the sandwich. I get white bread. Might have to switch it up. All right. Anyways, we can cut it there. Thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate you guys very much for listening to How About Them Celtics and all of our antics. Let us know if you like the calorie counting. It's just fun.
Yeah, you can tell us to go to hell. It's just kind of fun for us.
I'm running out of snacks. And just to be clear, if you tell us to go to hell, we might still do it just because we enjoy it. Yeah, thank y'all for tuning in. We appreciate it. Check us out on Spotify and Apple. Leave us 5 stars there. Tune in with us. And now more than ever for the season, we are getting close and we do appreciate the support during the dead season. So you bet your ass we're going to be here during the season. We just hit 1.29, so we're 1,291 subscribers now. So thank y'all. We're almost at 1,300. We're getting there. Subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, email us. Leave us a comment. Help us out. We appreciate it. We love reading that stuff, and we'll
we got to
discuss it.
Drop ideas in the thing.
Yeah,
because we're doing our thing tomorrow.
This is true. Do let us know what you want.
We're not going to do any more 3 reasons because nobody gave a fuck.
We're cutting the series.
Canceled.
We're cutting it. But yeah, thank y'all for tuning in. I'll let Sam get us out of here.
Thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you for your continued support. If you're on YouTube, you're either on ours, CLNS's, or CLNS's other one. Subscribe to all of them. Hit the notification bell on ours. We are putting up daily videos. We're going to do a bunch of them tomorrow. And give us your ideas because it's more fun that way. And we don't have to think. And also, if anything breaking happens, we'll have you covered there too. You can find us on Spotify and Apple. Follow us. Leave a 5-star review. Say something nice. And playback. Please. Social media is at How About Them C's, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook is just the name of the podcast. We've been active on socials. You can find Jack on Twitter at JacksMoneyBay. You can find me at Samuel France NBA. That's it for us.
Tic-tac-toe.